What's up, guys? This is DJ, and you're watching Breakdowns and Body Bags. What's up, guys? Today we are reviewing Wrong Turn, the 2021 reboot of the older series by Alan McElroy. Apparently, this series needed a reboot, and this is the movie to do it. Also, keep in mind, this is a spoiler review. All of my reviews are going to be spoiler reviews. I know Corey likes to warn you guys before spoiling something. So here's your warning. If you haven't seen this and you want to avoid spoilers, go watch it and then come back here. Let's get into it. Wrong Turn is a reboot of the already failed Wrong Turn series by Alan McElroy. This guy also wrote for that god-awful Star Trek Discovery show, so you can guess I didn't go into this movie with high expectations. But I can't pass judgment on something I haven't seen, so I decided to take the plunge. The movie is about a group of woke-approved friends from New Jersey who travel to small racist white town Virginia before hiking the Appalachian Trail. Several residents warn them against hiking anywhere in the woods besides the trails, but because the group are both intellectually and morally superior to the white denizens who live there, they decide to ignore the warnings and do whatever they want instead. The group of friends consist of smart, brave, powerful white girl Jen and her just black enough boyfriend Darius, who is also a starry-eyed communist.
Everyone works. Everyone shares.
Interracial gay couple Gary and Lewis, and token straight white male and female Adam and Mila. Normally I wouldn't hammer a movie so hard for being so obvious and heavy-handed in their wokeness, but they started it by making the first 20 minutes of the movie about how woke this group is. The writer purposely puts a scene in the movie where the group are in a bar just so that they can get harassed by racist bigot number one to give Jen the opportunity to tell him how smart they all are while also dissing herself in the process.
What about you, sweetheart?
I have 2 masters, art history and dance, which means I make coffee for a living.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have gone into debt for 2 disciplines that you didn't have any idea what to do with. Jen briefly meets a strange woman, Edith, and a young mute girl, Ruthie, before the group begins their hike. I'm sure that will be relevant later. Finally, the movie starts, and they get right off to killing one of the only likable characters so far. It's a stupid death because who the fuck gets crushed by a rolling tree? The way they show the tree rolling at them is also dumb as fuck because nobody looks at things through their cell phone like that. Sure, there's a bunch of trees around them, but look at the size of that log. You could very easily just jog to the side to avoid it. Whatever. The movie needed something to create a sense of danger, so there we go. Lost and distressed, the remaining friends set up camp for the night. The following day, the group discovers that Mila is missing, as well as their cell phones. Nearby, they find a plaque dated 1859 commemorating the creation of a group of settlers in the mountains called the Foundation, who believed the end of the United States was near. I wonder if that'll be relevant. While looking for Mila, Adam is caught in a trap. Shortly after, the group finds Adam restrained and being carried by 2 men donned in primitive clothing and wearing elk and deer skulls. After confronting the men, Adam escapes and kills the man with the elk skull. Moments later, Mila appears and reveals she was just hiding after encountering the men earlier. The group attempts to flee, but is surrounded by more mask-wearing men. While chasing Adam, Mila falls into a pit and is impaled on sharpened tree branches. Adam abandons her before she is killed by an arrow shot by one of the masked men. The remaining group members, Jen, Adam, Darius, and Lewis, are all captured. From here on, the movie loses its way and never really tries to find it again. I didn't mention that the movie actually opens with Jen's father looking for her because she had been missing for 6 weeks without a trace. The reason is because it doesn't really matter. The movie picks up before he's looking for her, and we don't see him again until we've already forgotten about him. For the rest of the runtime, the movie splits between the group's story and Jen's dad's story. This hurts the movie more than helps it because it seems like the filmmakers were trying to tell 2 stories and sacrificing opportunity for character development for everybody in both. Nobody is actually likable in this movie except the dad, but you don't get to follow him enough to actually care about him or the mystery of his daughter. Likewise, you don't really follow the group enough to get to know them except for how dumb they all actually are. The friends are then taken to the group's primitive settlement deep in the forest, put before their court, and charged with murder. Jen recognizes Edith and Ruthie from the day before. The Foundation's leader, Venable, finds Adam guilty and sentences him to death while declaring Jen, Darius, and Lewis guilty of lying and sentencing them to darkness. Venable then bludgeons Adam to death. Shortly after, Lewis tries to flee, but Venable sears his eyes shut with a hot knife, blinding him. Jen begs Venable for mercy, claiming she and Darius would be helpful to them. Darius because he's strong, and Jen because she can get fucked. Venable agrees, and both are welcomed into the community. Just like that, I guess. Several weeks later, Jen's father arrives in the nearby town to search for her and gets help from the motel owner. Scott pays a local tracker to get him through the forest. After the tracker and his son are stupidly killed by a trap, Scott finds the settlement but is surrounded. Jen, apparently brainwashed and married to Venable, shoots her father with an arrow. Venable sentences Scott to darkness for trespassing and imprisons him. That night, Jen sneaks away and releases her father. Shocker. She reveals that she only shot him so as not to raise suspicion. As Jen and Scott flee, Jen encounters Darius, but he refuses to leave. Just like that, I guess. I guess all it takes is 6 weeks to fully develop Stockholm Syndrome and become completely brainwashed by these people. You're so weak-willed that all it takes is 6 weeks for this to happen. Fuck off, movie. Jen then finds Ruthie, who helps them escape before Venable and several other cultists pursue them. On their way, Jen and Scott kill one of the cultists and discover the blinded, disheveled prisoners, including Lewis, who Jen then shoots in the head out of mercy. Jen and Scott flee and kill multiple cultists, including Edith. They encounter Nate and other armed townsmen who offer help when cultists attack them, killing one of the townsmen and wounding Jen. They manage to escape, and Venable looks on as they drive away. Several months later, Jen and her father have returned to their normal lives. Jen visits her stepmother at her home, but inside finds her welcoming Venable and Ruthie to the neighborhood. Jen confronts Venable, who notices that she is several months pregnant with a child and asks Jen to return with him to the Foundation. Jen reluctantly agrees on the condition that Venable never again interferes with her family. Jen, Venable, and Ruthie leave, driving away in an RV with 3 other cultists. As the end credits roll, the RV swerves out of control and crashes into a parked car, presumably killing or incapacitating 2 of the cultists. Jen throws open the door and stabs Venable to death before hurling the knife at the other cultist, cutting him down before she proceeds to kill him. Jen holds Ruthie's hand as they walk back towards her family home. So that's Wrong Turn. What hurt this movie the most was the lack of inspiration from the writer and director Mike P. Nelson. It feels like they both intended to make a better movie with an interesting weaving of 2 tales, but neither McElroy or Nelson knew how to handle a movie like that. If they would have stuck with just following the group around or making more of a horror thriller mystery with the dad looking for his daughter, this movie would have been way better than it was. I have to give the actors credit, though, because they did really well acting their parts, as stupid as they were, and the movie, much to my surprise, actually kept my attention throughout the whole thing. I guess if that's what constitutes as a good movie, then Wrong Turn is as good as it gets. However, in reality, the story or stories are flat and uninteresting. The brazen wokeness of the characters is off-putting, and nobody really has any noticeable character arc to speak of. Jen figures out she can use her 2 degrees to become an architect, so yay for her, I guess, but everybody else was just kind of along for the ride. So that was Wrong Turn. Again, the thing that killed this movie more than the 20 minutes of proving how woke they are, a bunch of little things that were just bad decisions, like having racist bigot number 1 who confronts them in the bar have like a redemption story and he actually goes to get his liver checked out or something like that, because that's something that Jen tells him in the movie, like, oh, or not Jen, the Mila, the girl is like, oh, you have yellow in your eyes, that means your liver's failing or something like that, and this dude actually goes to get it checked out, and then like when he's hunting he's like, you were right about my eyes, I got my liver checked out, thanks, I want to help you now. Like, fuck off. Like, this is so stupid. The Alan McElroy wrote himself into a corner like 3 times in this movie and gets out in the stupidest ways. And there's also some dumb decisions, like whoever did this didn't have anybody on set who knew how guns worked. They did, the continuity people definitely knew how many shots are in a revolver, so they got that right, but the amount of recoil that one of those big motherfuckers has and the amount of noise that it makes when she's just firing these shots willy-nilly in this cavern and the sound just goes everywhere, nobody wakes up. Or maybe they do, but like it takes them fucking long to realize where these shots are coming from and where to go find them. But it's just little stupid things like that that made this movie just worse and worse and worse. The 2 characters that I actually liked, Gary and Lewis, and they just kill them off like right in the beginning, right when it goes off with that stupid tree death, and then they burn out the other one's eyes and throw him in the cage. It's like, God, now there's nobody in here that I actually like. The ending is just convoluted and stupid. The whole 2 stories, trying to balance 2 stories, nobody knew how to do that correctly, and I feel like if they just would have went with one or the other, it would have been a better movie. Buried in Wrong Turn is a good movie. somewhere, but they just weren't able to pull it out. I got to give the actors credit, like I said in the review. They acted very well. So that was good. Their characters just sucked. If you liked the movie, leave a comment. Let me know why. Or if you didn't like the movie, leave a comment and boost my ego. Otherwise, give this video a like. It really helps us out. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome content like this. And I will see you guys next week.